Good morning, Young Kings. Time for your morning motivation this morning. Um, New series, new direction, new road to travel. So it'll be a little different. It's a rehabilitation and restoration. So kind of change your mind, change your life, changing, redefining some things in my life, and moving in different directions. And I like it. It's a little different. Um, Good news. I just ran three miles this morning, and I know that's a drastic difference from walking just last week and still noticing some pain to this morning, just getting up and deciding. At first, I was only going to run like 1 mile, um, and started running, and it's a slow pace, not too slow, but not too fast, where can re-injure something. So um, did the 3 miles, started the first mile, and it was at a 10-minute mile pace. And I figured, I got to the end of that and body wasn't aching or in too much pain. So I decided to go for another mile. And at the end of that mile, um, still was feeling pretty decent. So decided to go for another one. And I probably could have ran four, but I just kind of wanted to stop there and stopped at three, and then I actually walked a few laps to kind of cool down. Um, but it was amazing to feel, it felt good out there running again. Um, a little different, a little different. I ran the 3 miles in um, 30 minutes and 15 seconds, so kind of kept pace around that 10-minute miles. And for me not to have ran that consistently in the last month and a half, going on 2 months, I made a lot of progress. So I just got to make sure that I stretch, which I did before I ran, and then I stretched after I ran, and then I'll probably stretch throughout the day, as well as hydrate, make sure that I replenish my body with fluids and stuff of that nature. And that doesn't mean like I'm going to go back into running every other day or multiple times a week. Going to kind of see how it goes and play it from there and take it from there. But I know that the elements of playing it safe or staying comfortable is not a recipe for success. Um, so I was having a talk with myself this morning. Um, we all are triune beings, body, mind, and soul. So just having a conversation on where I'm at and where I'm going, and making sure that we're all on the same page. And there's elements of me that is not on the same page. Sometimes my body doesn't want to respond to the direction of my mind. Sometimes my heart, it seems like it's betraying me, and sometimes my mind is just creates different thoughts and thinking traps along the way. So each one of them has an element of development and rehabilitation that needs to take place. So this rehab that I'm in is not just one aspect of rehabilitation of my body, but my mind and my soul as well, getting those things situated to a point where um, I'm healthy and I'm whole and I am enough, meaning that um, we all got to get on the same page. We got to be moving in the same direction. I know last week while I was out of town in Oklahoma, on one of the videos I talked about how in Amos 3:3, and it says, how can two walk together unless they agree? And I think what's even more important that two people agree is that for me to agree with myself, meaning that, my triune being needs to be unified in the direction we're going in order for us to move in a positive direction. So if I was to have that expectations on an external entity and someone that I want to walk in agreement with, there's conflicts within me that's not in agreement with the direction I need to go. So this battle is within, to start from where I am, to decide what's the path to go and how do we get there, and at what pace do we travel this road. So I was having this talk, with my heart, um, my mind, and my body this morning while I was running, and it was a lot of revelation in there. And I don't know how it's going to come out on the camera, but I know that it was impactful for me. So I know it's for me, but I'm just going to share with you, and perhaps in your walk, you may need to have that come to yourself type talk, and realize, like, there was three elements in there. Like I said, it's my mind, my body, and my soul. But just like in a fiery furnace, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, there was a fourth man in the furnace while this was happening. There was a fourth individual present, more of my spirit. And I know those who are theological or theologians will say your soul is your spirit, but from this perspective, it was kind of like there was someone sending out, interrogating my mind, my heart, and my body, and just having this conversation, and had it on trial today as far as the direction we're going. And my mind was in defense mode. It was just saying, like, hey, I'm thinking all things are possible regardless of what situations look like. I want to go at it. But then there's elements in my mind that was contradicting itself, because it was telling me, like, sometimes it feels like I'm doing useless pursuits, and it doesn't agree with that. I get thoughts that come in my mind, and so probably similar to you, some thoughts will come in your head, and if you want to change your life, you got to change your thinking, and that is extremely important, about what you let into your mind and what you let sit there in a thought, because sometimes your thoughts can be your biggest enemy. My mind, sometimes it creates situations and circumstances that are so abstract and far from reality, but it convinces me that it is. But then there's some things that my mind tries to tell me as intuition, and warnings, and signs that it seems things start lining up that are not conducive to a direction that's profitable. And I overlook those things. So there's an element in my mind there that needs to be renewed in there. And, there's this element of my heart too. Jeremiah 17:9 says, the heart is deceitfully wicked. Who can know it? And my heart has issues. I mean, it's a heart problem. A lot of things that you come across, the heart has a lot to do with it. It's the source of your life. It's pumping energy, or it could be draining you. So I had a talk with the heart today, and asked, why was it betraying me so much? And it was kind of humbling, having this talk with my heart, trying to get unified on the same page, and it has some indictments on itself. My heart was telling me, it's like, it's not betraying me, it's trying to protect itself from me. Meaning, like, there's some things that, in my heart, or that I'm letting in, that is not in line with what I need to be doing. And there's some circumstances and situations that it has to protect itself from me. Meaning that everything that I want to do in my mind, and the things that I'm desiring to do in my body, is not in line with what's profitable for my heart. So it's saying it was protecting itself from me. And it talked about relationships, and it talked about goals and pursuit. From a relationship aspect, my heart was saying that I'm trying to hold on to people that want to leave and walk out. And I'm trying to close it off to people that want to come in and be a part of it. So it's like there's this contradiction going on in my heart. And it's the same with goals. It says I'm setting goals that are contingent on other people and externally motivated, that it doesn't have the ability to help me control. um, and it's setting it up for more pain. So it's like it's not betraying me; it's protecting itself from me. And it made a lot of sense um, from an aspect of, um, and if you look at my videos and the need and the struggle that I have with validation, will kind of be in line with my heart's indictment against some of the things that is stating that I'm struggling with, or that it's struggling with me with. So it's not that it doesn't want to be unified with me; it just wants us to be unified, going in a direction that we can control. And that direction that I can control is actually my own actions, my own um, being. So and then we just there's so much more to this conversation. Um, but then we progressed to the body, and I was questioning my body. How do you go from walking um, a mile in 20 minutes to running 3 miles in 30 minutes? Like, there's got to be that balance. Like, and the indictment was like, hey, you've been coasting, you've been on vacation, so to speak, and the my mind and the spirit and the heart is like, hey, what's going on? We could have been further along had your body been in line with us. Um, but the body was speaking up too. It says, hey, I had to get my rest while I can, because if I didn't take it now, I wasn't going to get it. If I decided to make you feel good, you would have ran us into the ground. You would have just kept going, and you wouldn't rest. And it says it's one thing to do it with physical activities and exercise, but it's another thing to run us in the ground with not giving us the proper rest, giving me the proper rest, not replenishing your energies with sleep, not eating foods that would be conducive to the activity that you're going to put it through. So it's like um, there was an element of the body complaining, like, hey, if I didn't take this break, then you were going to break me. I mean, it was an indication, like, the things you were doing were not going to be in line with where you need to go, where want us to go in the future. So it was an element where initially during this conversation, I had all these accusations about what each entity was doing wrong. Um, but in all actuality, there's defense and protective mechanisms in there that was not allowing me to accomplish my goals. So there's a saying that says, "My biggest enemy is my enemy." So I've been my biggest enemy in this whole thing. Um, my mind needs to be renewed, and it needs to get to a point that's productive and profitable and beneficial. My heart, um, it needs to be more open. And the thing about the heart being open is that that's a vulnerable spot to be in. Is having your heart open, because it's like your hand. You know, when your hand is open, things can come in, they can flow out, they can easily flow in and out. And that's the process of life. It's like your heart is designed to be open, to be able to receive the beauty of life, but at the same time, to experience some of those things that may not be as beautiful or may be hurtful. But what happens is that something hurtful happens, and then you end up closing it off. So it seems like it's a protective mechanism for you to protect yourself. But the thing is, it's like what's in there is not able to get out, and then what's out is not able to get in. So it's that element of you're restricting yourself from being all that you can be or capable of being. So it's that understanding that and trying to open your heart up. It's a hard process, and I'm going to have to do that um, and be vulnerable enough to be available, to be both loved and hurt, because you can't choose just to say, hey, I'm going to partially open it up for only good things to come in and no bad things. So you got to have an element of balance in there. and take the good with the bad. You know, although weeping may endure for the night, joy comes in the morning. You'll understand all those cliches and things. And then from my body perspective, it's like I need to have a better understanding of holistic health. And it's not just running. There's so much more to conditioning than running. But I understood more through this injury that running is like my coffee in the morning. Like when I don't run, I'm not as productive during the day. When I don't run, the rest of my workouts suffer as well. So I just got to get to a point where I can be more balanced in that as well. So start replenishing my body with sleep, start drinking more fluids, and start eating a little better. And I think that last one may be the hardest because there's some things that I want to get to, things that I like eating. And just so I know I'm going to have to exercise some discipline in there and making sure my body is healthy and whole. So the scripture that I was pointing to today is Proverbs 11. I know it's the first, and I did read Proverbs 1, but Proverbs 11 is the scripture that really spoke to me this morning. And it says, a false balance is abomination to the Lord, but a just weight is his delight. And I realized this morning how out of balance I am, like with my thinking, with my mind, with my heart, and with my body. Like they all got different agendas and they're all trying to protect themselves from each other. So instead of being unified in this endeavor, they're working against each other. You know, the mind wants to run its way. The heart is not in line and it wants to protect itself from the mind. And then the body wants to protect itself from the heart and the mind, saying, hey, I'm the one bearing the results of all these things that you're desiring to do, or the destruction. So, but there's an element of each feeling the destruction. Like, if you ever been in a difficult situation or had your heart broke, then you understand the heart is a sensitive spot as well. And if you ever had a thought of not being enough or not being worthy or not being able to accomplish what you set out to accomplish, you understand that the mind has an element of feelings, and it could be fragile as well. You know, and we all know about the body, how it breaks down. I think it's deteriorating each day that we grow older. But in that, you know, the options are few, meaning that you can either grow old or you can die young. So the deterioration of the body is one of those things that's naturally gonna happen. So there's an element of the body that's gonna have to be stretched some more. So during this rehab and restoration, I plan on being more balanced, but still not being comfortable. And I realized, like, really the enemy of all those was my comfort. Like, I want to be in a comfortable environment, and I know that comfort is an enemy to my calling. It's not a comfortable road, and I realize more and more, and I keep saying this. I understand why people don't do this deep work to become better, because it's hard. You know, it's not easy. I mean, it's easier to act like you're something than it is actually to be. I'm on YouTube some. Since I've been off social media, I get into a lot of motivational speakers, and I listen to a lot of people. And you got to realize, like, a lot of people will portray the good side of them and what they do well and try to get you to emulate things that they're not even themselves. So you got to be careful. There's a lot of YouTubers that do this for a job, and they're paid, or you're paying them through, they're advertising for Cash App, and for you to Cash App them this, or for you to subscribe to a Patreon page. And I'm not against anybody in their hustle for that, but I would ask that you look for someone that's authentic. And I'm not saying that I'm the only authentic one in here, but I said I don't need anything from you. I'm just trying to give something to you. Um, but and I look at a lot of them, and they they communicate as though they have already accomplished the world. And that wasn't the intent behind my page. My intent was to take you through this journey, through this work, and to show you how difficult the process is. And even in me taking you through there, you can see through some of my videos, like, I'm a work in progress. This work, it will continue. So although I may give you my opinions on how I interpret things, um, they still need to be evolved and developed in themselves. So there's an element of me that's growing with you as I go through this. But I'm not trying to portray like I'm holier than thou or better than anyone, but I want to be better today than I was yesterday. And I think that's all our goals, is to improve. So be careful who you listen to, and a lot of them are eloquent in speech, and it's easy to dress things up to make it seem more appealing. But I would tell you this, and this is not, this probably is my ego and my arrogance coming out, so I would say, not to be transparent with that, I will put my resume up with any of them. I'm not a YouTuber. I'm a professional man. And I say this to say that, like, it's not an easy journey to be vulnerable. It's not an easy journey to try to be better. And if you're looking for easy, this is not it. If you're looking for comfort, this is not it. And if you're looking for growth and development, then this is it. And it's just going to be, the road to progress is going to be paved with a lot of failures and a lot of setbacks and disappointment. So this restoration process that I'm going through, I challenge you to go through it and to really question who you are. Question the thoughts that come into your head. Question your heart's pursuits and what's coming in and what's going out. And then, push your body, but be balanced in there. So my goal today is to be more balanced. And I'm going to drink some more fluids, some more water, some stretching, and get more reading and more information into my mind. Start replenishing it with things that are uplifting and inspiring, and start let go of some things that are draining. Be courageous enough to let something go. Because in life you don't lose, you learn. And if you redefine losses as lessons, then you will become better. And that's why my definition of failure is that I can't fail, because even in failing, I have successfully found out something that didn't work, so I can begin again more intelligently. So learn. And what I need to do is go back and watch some more of my videos so I can be better. So today I encourage you to have the heart talk, to have that mind assessment, and do that body check, and make sure that you're in line, and get your triune being in line with the direction that you need to move in, and then start moving united in that direction. So because if you don't do it, then you will be going from this to that, and you won't find satisfaction in any of those things. As I mentioned, I'm a pursuer. I pursue things, and I pursue, just a multitude of things that's out there. And some of that pursuit has been beneficial, but some of that pursuit has also been in vain, meaning that when I get what I actually pursued, it doesn't give me the feeling that I thought it would upon this initial pursuit. So then I start setting out another target and another goal, and to do this and to do that. And I'm not anti-goal and saying you shouldn't set goals. I definitely say you should have goals and you should have a direction, but don't expect that direction and that goal to fill a void or something in you, because you are enough, and that void needs to be filled before the pursuit endures. So don't think like something, once you accomplish it, is going to make you feel better. It may give you a temporary satisfaction. It may give you an ego boost in knowing how smart and how intelligent you are, how strong you are. But the reality of it is, after that initial high goes away, you're going to be settled back into who you are. So you need to understand who you are and be okay with that and be whole, and start to continue to develop it into a better state. So the journey is just as important as the destination, if not more important. That your journey is a never ending one, you know, from pursuit to goals to achievements. That journey is the defining moments in your life that will shape who you are. So pay attention to what's happening to you today and how you are responding to things, and then question it, and then have that heart to heart talk, that heart to mind talk, and that mind, body, and soul unification speech, and move forward. So I'm gonna wrap it up and get off YouTube so I can go to work. I'm not a YouTuber. I'm actually working, so I'm just getting off vacation and time to get back on grind. So, and that's the word to the body, to the mind, and my heart. It's time to grind, but we will be balanced. A false balance is abomination to the Lord, but a just weight is his delight. So it's time for me to delight in the Lord. Have a blessed day, young kings.